What is up, everyone? This is your good friend Patrick O'Dowd, and I would like to just first bask in me on camera. First time ever. That's right. Look at this handsome face. That's me. Adorable, gorgeous, wearing my Cusco-topia shirt because I'm a Disney guy. Welcome in, though, to another edition of the Four Corners Podcast here on the Chairshot Radio Network, a part of the Chairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head. Back for the second week in a row, we have special guests today, but I am, of course, joined by my usual compadre, the man behind the studio, my good friend, the lawyer, David Ungar, my complaint about Disney World compatriot, my complaint about Disneyland compatriot. He's my partner in crime. We are also, of course, joined by, as you can see before you, Raymond S. Cashington, Esquire, and PC Tunney, the executive vice president of Wednesday evening programming on the Chairshot Radio Network. In particular,
There
we
is
have
none. There
the
is
Greg
no
DeMarco
Wednesday.
show.
There is
I
no
had to-
Wednesday programming.
I had to check with Greg DeMarco and be like, "Are we canceled, bro? Like, did we end the show and you just didn't tell me?" Like, I just keep getting texts that are like, "Hey, man, I can't do it this week." He was sick last week, and then he's had the little O'Dowd has been back from college, and the winter break family time took
Little
over.
DeMarco.
The
Hey,
little
wait.
DeMarco,
The
little
little O'Dowd's in
O'Dowd is
college now?
he is
Wow.
not there yet, and boy,
That
do we not
MCU
want to. We
sound
don't want to think
change.
about that yet. We do not want to think about that. We are navigating eighth grade. I gotta start though, because I wasn't here last week. These three gentlemen held down did the Four Corners podcast, and we are back live streaming here on Saturday, January 17th, to do basically a big football preview weekend with the NFL and the college football playoff. Both going strong. College football playoff, we will crown a national champion on Monday. I would like to speculate or postulate that it should have been yesterday. Yesterday would have been a great day, a Friday evening with no real competition because college basketball wasn't really happening, wasn't much going on in the other ranks. But as it is, we got a Saturday, Sunday of NFL football in front of us and a Monday college football game that will determine a national championship. And we're going to cover it all here today. But I wanted to clear something up. I wasn't here last week, and Dave spread some lies. Well,
Again?
I was not bowling for dollars last week. You got my schedule confused. I'm bowling for dollars next week.
I
This week,
prostrate myself before the court.
well, I mean, we don't need to know about your personal medical history. That's fine.
I said
we will-
prostrate. Anyway,
Oh, I thought you said prostate. My mistake. What I can say is that, had I known you guys were going to want to record on a Saturday, like my time wasn't consumed for Saturday. I could have done a live stream. Thanks for the invite. Decisions to go live and no phone calls made. That's cool. I get it. It's because you hate me. You don't like me. It's because Ray is at least Ray's showing the truth. Ray is showing the truth here.
Only
it's
on the
fine.
calls. Outside of the calls, you're one of my favorite people. Just on the calls.
I will say it was fine. I was otherwise occupied by the time I learned that the show is going live, so I couldn't join anyway. But no, next week is the true beginning of bowling tournament season. I am in a singles tournament next weekend. That should be either exciting or humiliating. I never have an in-between tournament. I either bowl out of my mind or the struggle is real and I just never get off the struggle bus. So we'll see how it goes. Could go either way. And then vacation season is not far behind either. I'm about to go hang out with the mouse for a couple weeks in a row too. That's going to be great. Lots going on there. Gentlemen, how are you? I know you didn't miss me because you talked for 2 hours, so you clearly enjoyed your time together on the Four Corners podcast last week. That was quite a conversation.
That's just the Bears fan in you saying that. We always miss you, Patrick.
I don't know.
the Bears fan.
There is a natural pessimism to being a Bears fan. Like that is just where we've
know what
been
I'm
for the
talking
last
about.
40 years. Yeah, he's not crazy. He does know some stuff when it comes to the Bears psyche. And we're going to talk all about the Bears psyche in the second half of the show. First half of the show is going to focus on the college football playoff. I thought about talking a little bit about the fact that the Dodgers just signed a player, Kyle Tucker, yeah. I wasn't going to name it because it could be any player on the Dodgers. Kyle Tucker's contract that they just signed for is $60 million. That is more than the entire 26-man St. Louis Cardinal roster for the coming spring. Like, it's insane. It is patently insane how much money the Dodgers just throwing out there.
Do you guys see any way we avoid a baseball lockout next year?
No,
Nope.
no, no. This is
That's
this is
coming.
so
That's
out of
coming.
hand at this point. Like it is so out of hand, and this is the pendulum that has swung in in the sport where we've gone from this model of just really strong owner control, the sort of the boys club, the back like we have gone very much in the other direction with players being able to get paid, which rightfully so, and is a mess that Major League Baseball has made for itself.
And brother,
Sure have.
the concessions that the owners are gonna have to give the players to get a salary cap is gonna be ginormous.
I agree. It's gonna be something to see. I don't know. It's just the haves and the have-nots. The disparity is so ridiculous, and it's not gonna go away. No matter what agreement gets made, like they'll find a way, like they always do. This isn't going to be the NFL or even the NBA to a certain extent, where there is a modicum of competitive balance when it comes to talent and talent acquisition.
Even if they do the floor, like the NBA has a floor now where you have to
Right.
spend so much money. You think if they had a floor, would that help? It's like the Marlins have to spend $50 million a year or something like that.
Well,
No,
I think. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
they need a cap. I mean, there's no and if or buts
Well,
about
for
it. They
sure,
got to
yeah,
get
yeah,
a
yeah.
cap. Yeah.
But
So
also
I
there's people who are because of the way the revenue share works, they just make all their money off the
Submarine
Yankees, Red
themselves.
Sox. Yeah. So
wow.
if the bottom teams had to get a floor, the top teams had to have a cap because it's not all just at the top.
It'll bring it closer. The and the small market teams, quote unquote small market teams, are the ones that I'm more interested in watching than that there is the sky is the limit, the ceiling is the roof, to quote the great Michael Jordan. That I'm more interested in if they did do something like a salary limit, a baseline that everybody has to hit, because like the Cardinals are in a full rebuild mode. So the reason their payroll is incredibly low is because they have shed a lot of contracts. They shed Nolan Arenado. The year before, they shed
Thank you, by the way.
Goldschmidt. What? Oh, you're welcome.
Where did he go?
But
Who did he go to, Ray?
enjoy his 200 average and no power, because that dude can't hit for shit right now. His decline has been so acute that I and it's not even against like in all left-handed pitching, right-handed pitching, it hasn't mattered. It's been hard to watch, Ray. It's been hard to watch.
I
Like
believe you.
it was so sharp. So it was
He's
a
a Diamondback
contract.
now, by the way, Dave.
Yes, yeah, he was traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Look, I
Or
mean, as a Nationals fan, we haven't done shit since winning the title in 2019. So we're going
right.
on.
So
Yeah,
all of this has everything to
exactly.
do with Indiana and Miami facing up against one another in the college football playoff,
Well,
which is
that goes
where,
to show you how much there is to talk about. There's nothing to talk
well,
about in
yeah,
this game.
I mean, we're not even going to touch the NCAA point shaving revelation, the indictments that came out this week, like 2 days ago, of just various players handing over, shaving points. And it's hilarious. If you think this is limited to the mid-major colleges that were listed, you're kidding yourself, Noble fan. These are just the 17 players in the small time schools that we're starting with. I think this story will get bigger. But what we are going to do is we're going to look at two college football playoff games. One that was not particularly exciting to watch because it was very much over before halftime, and another game that was very, very exciting to watch, came right down to the end, and was amongst the best games I watched last weekend. So let's start with the boring one. Indiana came out, pick sixes Oregon to start the game. First play out of the gate. Oregon responds with a touchdown, and then Indiana scores like 35 straight. Game is over. Oregon was dead. It was boring. Nobody significantly got injured out of Indiana. It was a dominant, dominant performance by a dominant, dominant team. And I'm going to turn it over to Tony to talk about how impressive Indiana was, because he has yet to speak really since we got going here today. So lay it on us, buddy.
It wasn't much of a game. It was a horrible game. That first possession was a pick six. It was 42-7 at one point. I don't expect it to be much different of a game this Monday, to be honest with you. I mean, Miami's got some offensive weapons, but I don't think they're a better team than Oregon. I don't think they're even as good a team as Oregon. And I don't think Cristobal's as good a coach as Lanning either. So I think this game is going to be out of hand at halftime. Bet the over, give the points. Indiana will probably cover the over on their own. This is going to be really bad. And when it's all said and done, this Indiana football team for this season is going to be considered one of the better football teams of all time. And it's not having that conversation yet because it's Indiana and it's been a surprise, right? They've never had a Heisman Trophy winner. They've never won a national championship, right? So it's just good for Indiana because Signitti's come out and said, I'm not going to the NFL. I'm here. This is what I've wanted my entire life. Indiana's not going anywhere, especially with Mark Cuban's $1 billion behind them. They're set. Indiana is now probably the best sports team. They're always good in basketball. They could use improvement there, but they're going to be good at football, top 5-10 for as long as Signetti's there.
Fun fact, Indiana has won 3 bowl games in this season. Prior to this bowl season, they had won 3 bowl games in their program's history. That is incredible. Curt Cignetti, greatest coach of all time. And the reason I love people talking about this team and where they're going to fit in history is the fact that the players that Curt Cignetti has done this with are not necessarily what you would say are the ballyhooed 5-star. This is a no doubt NFL player. He has coached them very, very well, very, very hard. Yeah, we just, Dave stepped away for a second. I think it's an audio issue that he's trying to work through. So I'm assuming he
But
will be back. Bear
to
with.
that point,
Go ahead,
to
Ray.
that point, Patrick, they have no 5-star recruits on their roster.
No, at all. They're
It's
just
amazing.
now entering into that game in this recruiting cycle with, the transfer game and their 2027 class, not their 2026 class, where you're starting to see like all the high school all-star games are starting to ramp up right now. And that is where, sorry, Dave just sent me a text. Everything just crashed. So we're going to keep rolling along and see what happens here because it says we're live. It says we're still going. Technical difficulties are part of life.
It's hosted online, so it's not affected by him yet.
So we'll be okay when he gets back in. Anyway, so there's all this talent that's now starting to, like, Indiana is now a school that is being looked at as an elite school because of these 2 seasons and what Curt Cignetti has done for the program. And so it's outstanding. It's wonderful to see it happen. On the other side, I want to make sure I didn't misquote you, Tunney, because when I listened to the show and I listened to you talk about the Ole Miss Miami game, did you say that Ole Miss was going to win by 2 touchdowns?
Obviously, since you're bringing it up.
No, I did. I am too lazy to go back and re-listen to make sure I heard what I thought I heard after, because I listened to it before the games, and I was like, but I think I texted David. I was like, 2 touchdowns, huh?
That
And
is not here for your shit today.
Miami said no. He is not. He has no patience for me. Wait till we talk about the Bears-Packers game when we get to the NFL side of this shit.
You don't care.
We're gonna bathe in some Packer tears. That's what's gonna happen after commercial.
You are. I'm fine. If you think that's even one of the, well, yeah, it's probably one of the. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. And here's the thing: is for a minute I got worried. So the first half of this game, Miami's front really controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the game to start the game. Like they really gave Ole Miss some problems. Miami was able to push the Ole Miss defensive line back, and their ground game was really, really effective. And they kind of had control of the game. And then all of a sudden, Ole Miss made a run, took that lead. And I remember texting Dave and just being like, "Oh, okay, it's going to flip and Lane Kiffin's going to get a payoff after all." And then Miami, I don't trust Carson Beck. I think that's the other thing, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the game. I don't trust Carson Beck. He's had like the mother of all heaters for himself these last 3 games that they've played. He's not been asked to throw the ball deep downfield. They've been able to run the football effectively, and it has resulted in victories for Miami. It's been impressive to watch. Mario Cristobal has not coached his way into a loss either, and that's something that he has been known to do repeatedly when he has been in these big-time situations, is he will find a way. Like Miami will have this inexplicable loss that nobody can figure out, and it's usually poor clock management, baffling play calling, something like that. But Ray, I don't know if you had a chance to watch the Ole Miss Miami game. It was a lot of fun. But why don't you give your thoughts? Why did Ole Miss end up losing this game to Miami?
I don't think they had enough. Miami really likes to. I'm always a fan of teams. You notice a lot of the times you have these teams that show a level of dominance or tend to get to playoff, championship, divisional Super Bowl or championship level spots. Often they can rush the passer with just 4 people. Miami has about 75 dudes on the defensive line that
Right.
just shuffle in and out and in and out. And so when you have a secondary that can be thrown on and Trinidad Chambliss can throw the fuck out the ball, it helps when you can get at him and make him have to move out of the pocket and make him a bit skittish. And so the dude's ultra talented and he was making plays all game. But I just think they didn't have enough to overcome on their defensive side to stop Miami, to overcome Miami's defense in slowing down what Ole Miss was able to do. And
Chambliss,
it
by
makes
the
sense
way,
because
yeah, I hope you get your last year of eligibility, bro. Like,
I do too,
get there.
but with Dante Moore coming back, I wouldn't mind Chambliss being in the draft. Some
No,
team could use
I
him.
don't think either. But yeah, I think Trinidad Chambliss. I don't. It'll be interesting to see how that case unfolds because he's like, I have this contract, but we're still not calling players employees, so it's just gonna be interesting. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue. You were talking about Ole Miss
No,
and what
I
they
was just
didn't
gonna.
have.
The last thing I was gonna say was, look who Mario Cristobal. It makes sense that he would have a team with a defensive mindset.
Oh yeah. And it'll be intriguing as we get into this to see how Indiana's offensive line handles Miami's defensive line. Dave, did you watch this game along with me? We were texting back and forth. Anything that you thought or saw or thought about that really caught your attention?
Probably not much more than, I think than what we had discussed last week on the show that it was a great game. Miami just had one more big play in them than Ole Miss did at the end of the day. I mean, it was one of those things where, whoever got the ball last was probably going to win. And yeah, it was like one of those situations where, and I know we talked about it last week, whether it was PI on the last play or not, they're not going to call that even if it was, but it was a great game. Comparing it to Oregon and Indiana, which was a joke, but yeah, I thought that was probably the game of the playoffs so far. I don't anticipate we're going to get that this time around, but who knows?
Tony, let's turn our attention. I know you already talked about this. What does Miami have to do? I know you've already predicted a blowout. What does Miami have to do to not get blown out?
Score early and score often. They have to be able to run the ball. They can't. Malachi Tony can't be the only playmaker, right? You need Marks and the other receiver. His name is escaping me at the moment, but yeah. And like you said, Carson Beck has to be perfect. No turnovers, and they have to put points on the board in the first half because they're not going to stop Indiana. They're not going to hold Indiana to. Indiana's going to score in the mid 30s just by showing up. I think they're going to be in the 60s probably by the end of the night.
I think that the biggest thing on the defensive side of the football that Miami has to do, and I think Ray, you'll agree with me on this one. It's they have to that front four has to make Mendoza uncomfortable. They have to get after him. Indiana can give up a sack or two, and they need to try and do their damnedest to keep Mendoza within a pocket that they collapse. Don't let Mendoza get out into space. When Mendoza escapes, he's going to hit an open guy. And I think that's key. I think that, yeah, Miami's got dudes in the secondary, but Indiana's got dudes at receiver. They got 3 guys right now who can make plays and make big plays. And you give Mendoza time, those guys are going to get open, and Mendoza's going to find him.
You're so kind, the way you're speaking, both of you. The real answer, for those of you listening,
The real
fellow
answer.
listeners, the real answer is the only way to stop them, the only hope Miami has, is since they in Miami, to give them some bad Cuban sandwiches, and so that way Fernando Mendoza can't play. There is no shot Miami has to win this game. And if they win, I'll be the first one to come out here and say I was dead ass wrong. There is no shot. Indiana is just too stacked on every side of the ball. I spent my last time talking about how dominant Miami's defensive line is, right? You know who else got a pretty damn good defensive line? The Indiana fucking Hoosiers. Like this is not gonna be a good shout for Miami. Tony's right. you got to keep up. So Indiana scoring, what'd you say, Tony? At least 35? At least?
I mean, just by showing up, if they have a bad game, say they turn the ball over twice, I still think they're in the 30s. They don't turn the ball over, they're covering the over.
So we talking at least 5 touchdowns. So if you ain't talking about the game 35-35, you don't have a shot.
Dave, do you give Miami any chance?
Absolutely, I give them a chance. Certainly. I think you've got to get the Miami defense that showed up against Ohio State. Absolutely. That's got to be the secret to this, because if it's the Miami defense that let Ole Miss run up and down the field on them, no, they've got no chance. But they're going to have to put out the defense that stifled the Ohio State Buckeyes, who are no slouches either, defending champions and all that stuff. If they can do that, and I think Tony was saying Carson Beck has got to be mistake-free. Yeah, they got a shot. It is in Miami, like Ray's saying. They are going to have that home crowd that may will them to something, but ultimately it's like, do they have a shot? Sure. Is it like Lloyd Christmas's shot with Mary Swanson? Yeah, it's a little bit better than that. But I expect Indiana to be crowned the national champions at the end of the night. Miami will probably keep it close for a half, and then Indiana will pull away. And the future quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders will have a big game. So, yeah, they got a shot, but a lot of things have to go right for them to pull this upset off.
My boy, Oregon is better than Miami in every stretch of the word, and they got their ass boat raced in the first half.
I don't think Oregon has the defense that Miami does. Not even close.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
And I will say this, Indiana, when they went to Eugene, it was a closer game. And, there were a couple of late turnovers made the big difference. Ohio State did hold them close, but Indiana was that was their off game. Like their off perform. Like they didn't look sharp. Penn State's the only team that gave them true trouble this season. When they played at Happy Valley, and Penn State had dudes on defense. And that was what made the difference. And that was right after Franklin got fired, or maybe it was one of the games that got Franklin fired. But I remember that game. They were playing very inspired. They really, again, they got after Mendoza. They gave the Indiana offensive line trouble. Indiana defensively is so impressive and so well coached and so well disciplined. They don't have the best athletes, but they're a team that is always in the right place for whatever they're running. Their guys don't get caught out of position very often. They don't get lost in coverage. They may not always get to the quarterback, but their linebackers fill gaps extraordinarily well. And I think you hear a lot of pundits talking about Miami's going to be able to run the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball as well as folks seem to think, because unlike other teams, Miami doesn't get lost, or Indiana doesn't get lost. Their linebackers don't get lost. They fill gaps extremely well. They tackle extremely well. I also think Indiana wins. I don't know that it'll be like a 60-some point to 30-some point win. I do think they'll win by 2 scores. I will steal Tunney's phrase. They're going to beat Miami by 2 scores. That'll be
a prediction.
No, I'm not picking a score. I'm just going by
just
margin.
curious.
I'm picking an Indiana winner. I hate doing scores. I don't like doing spreads. Pick a winner. Just pick a winner. All right, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, our only commercial break. When we come back, we are going to talk NFL playoffs. We have 4 games, 1 coming up a little bit. We got 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow. It's going to be a great time. Dave's going to kick them in order for us, so stick around. We're going to give our own analysis and breakdown. You're listening to the Four Corners Podcast here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot Talk.
This is your boy Kenny Killer telling you to make sure you check out thechairshot.com, bringing you breaking news, interviews, podcasts galore, everything pro wrestling. Make sure you check it out, thechairshot.com.
welcome back. Those of you who are listening on the podcast, those of you on the stream, you never left. Thanks for staying. You are listening to the Four Corners Podcast here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head. Patrick O'Dowd, David Ungar, Ray Cash, and PC Tunney here this week. Remember to head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/the chair shot for all of your sweet, sweet chair shot swag needs. Someday, maybe we need to have a Four Corners shirt that nobody buys. Say no, just throwing it out there.
Why
Throwing it out
not?
there. Dave's got a logo behind us. It's a logo. It's something. Anyway, gentlemen, we are here in the, what do we call this? The quarterfinals? Quarterfinals of
The
the
divisional
divisional
round.
final, the
Divisional
divisional
round.
round of the NFL play, the NFL playoffs. Interesting mixed bag of games, if you asked me last week, with just sort of the output. Obviously, I am thrilled with the result of the Green Bay Chicago game. We'll get to that a little bit later. But there were some games where the score wasn't close, but the game didn't feel all that close, if that makes sense. Like, I never felt like the team that won was out of control. I am deeply concerned about the meat grinder that the San Francisco 49ers team has apparently gone through. Like, it's literally held together with rubber bands and duct tape at this point. But Dave has some lovely graphics as we start breaking these games down, because we have an exciting weekend in front of us. So Dave, I'm gonna hand you over to the magic, as we're gonna break these down in order of gameplay. Oh, there it goes. And we're gonna start in Denver. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills taking on the Fighting Sean Paytons, who get really mad. Sean Payton gets really upset if you ask about downhill runners and linebackers tackling them. Did y'all see that? No? Jump on YouTube. So this reporter asked like I can't remember who's coming back for Denver. Somebody who's injured on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. Defense. And the reporter just, so the reporter just basically asked Sean Payton, hey, how does this guy help against a downhill running attack? And like Sean Payton is like, oh, you know about downhill running? What do you know about downhill running? Nothing? Oh, that's what I thought. Oh, is it great to have such and such back? Yeah, he was just a real dick about it. And it was just like,
Maybe, you know what we should do? Let's have people stop covering football. Let's have people stop watching football. Let's stop having sponsors sponsor football. And then no one will bother Sean Payton, and Sean Payton won't make any fucking money. How about that, Sean Payton? Hey, Sean Payton, how about that, Sean Payton?
I see that you are a big fan of Sean Payton. But
How about
no,
that?
it was, how about that? So I have to admit, I have watched maybe 15 minutes of a Denver Broncos game all season. Out here on the East Coast, as a guy without Sunday ticket or whatever it used to be, Sunday ticket or Red Zone, I don't really follow the team very much outside of wanting to see how former University of Illinois wide receiver, was it Patrick Sullivan or whatever his name is? I'm getting the name. I can't remember his last name, but he got walloped. He was out for the rest of the season. He got hit really, really hard on a game. And it's been a great year for the Broncos, but not one I expected. And then there's the Fighting Josh Allens that everybody seems to forget has the NFL's leading rusher on the team. And while Josh Allen is a good quarterback, Ray, you're shaking your head because you hate Josh Allen. Okay. A lot of biases going on here. I have nothing against Josh Allen. I think that his contributions to victory get somewhat overstated at times. Yes, he makes terrific plays. Yes, he is mobile. He also had the best rusher in football. I will say that guy did not show up last week in the Buffalo Bills victory. He only ran for like 46 yards, and it did take Josh Allen making some throws down the stretch. But I don't know what to make of this game, so I'm going to hand it over to the panel and let PC Tunney go first and talk about how much he loves Sean Payton and why the Buffalo Bills are going to beat the Denver Broncos because he hates Sean Payton.
I don't hate Sean Payton. He's just
He's a
annoying.
dick.
It's fine. He's just not worth thinking about that much. Denver's got a really good football team. He's turned that team around. Bo Nix came in ready to accept the challenge of being Sean Payton's quarterback. He's done a great job, right? The problem is they don't have a ton of weapons on
I was
offense.
about to say,
and
I feel it coming.
here's the thing about it too. Like Bo Nix against this Buffalo defense, they have all these mirror fronts where they'll have 4 guys up front, but not all of the front men will rush. They'll drop a lineman back, and then they got like Milano or some other linebacker coming in. So their blitz scheme is pretty complex when you get in that 3rd and long, 2nd and long situations. I expect Buffalo's offense, the running game, to be able to travel on the road here. So I think this is a pretty easy Buffalo victory after they turn Bo Nix over a couple of times.
By the way, it's Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant was the name of the Illinois receiver that I was not remembering. Sorry.
This is
I'm a
not
bad
going to be
fan.
a good segment for me. Keep going.
All right, Ray would like us to skip because he hates the Bills.
Tony already picked the
Dave.
Bills. He did the beautiful thing where you build up the other team, and Denver has a great year, and Bo Nix and this and that. But God damn it.
Well, it's hard. I struggle to believe in Bo Nix. I will admit that. Like and I always look at the quarterbacks. I do think they have the advantage of quarterback as much as you don't like them on the Buffalo side of things. And again, this is me being a victim of not watching them. I just haven't seen them, so it's hard to really know whether or not Buffalo is going to beat Denver or what Denver does. You know what I
So
mean?
I do, and that's it's very fair. I'm no criticism at all. Even for picking I'm picking Buffalo. I get it. No criticism. But here's one thing that you can understand very easily, Patrick. Bo Nix is Caleb Williams West. In the fourth quarter, the boy's a superstar. Boy make plays in the fourth quarter. So if the RJ Harvey's had a good year, J.K. Dobbins should be healthy. So the running game should be well. Their defense gets added. The Texans have kind of blown up and become the hot defense of the time, deservedly so. But you know who's the best defense for most of the league this year? The Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know that. I do know that. I did know that they had
yeah.
an elite defense.
So, you know, for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen is Superman and all this stuff, whatever. Probably why I hate this motherfucker. But it makes all the sense in the world, right? But um you're right. The Jags had a great defensive scheme last week and shut down, for the most part, James Cook. They don't really have any wideouts of note other than Khalil Shakir, who actually balled the fuck out last week. So word to Khalil Shakir. Um, their tight ends are really really good, but Josh sometimes forgets he has them. He just won't even
Yeah,
look at them sometimes, right?
just
So, and I guarantee you, no disrespect to Jacksonville, I guarantee you ain't gonna be no 10-yard tush pushes against the Denver Broncos defense.
that was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous.
By the
Dave,
way, real fast, the Jags lost the game not because they got beat. They lost the game in the first half when they went forward on 4th down instead of kicking, and Trevor long ass damn fibula couldn't get over the first down marker.
long ass Dan.
He got a long ass dog. Like people have long legs.
Yeah.
That motherfucker got a long between knee and ankle.
And just beautiful wavy hair.
Well,
With
yeah,
the,
of
like
course.
the
Head and shoulders. You
flowing
already know what it
locks.
is.
He's the Henry Cavill of professional. And I was just kidding. I just wanted to make Dave make a face. Dave, your thoughts on this game before we move over further on the West Coast?
Yeah. I think like the Denver Broncos are a really, really good team. I think they're obviously ahead of schedule. I don't think anybody saw them getting the number 1 seed in the AFC this year. So kudos to them. They do, like Ray saying, they have an amazing defense. But I do think that this experience that Josh Allen has gotten from playing the dynasty of the AFC and losing for all those years, I go back to what I said last week. His kryptonite is gone. There is no Kansas City Chiefs. There is no Patrick Mahomes. There is no Lamar Jackson. They had every opportunity to lose that game to Jacksonville last week, and Josh Allen balled out and pulled that out. Ray hates the guy. I get it, but I think that experience is going to come in handy here. And yes, Patrick, you've raised your hand.
I don't think that Patrick Mahomes was Josh Allen's kryptonite. I think success is Josh Allen's kryptonite.
That's my boy. Come through, Patrick. Hey, we don't have the soundboard, but if we did, give that boy a ding. Yeah. hey, and the Super Bowl is Buffalo's kryptonite. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah, but
I lost 4 bets in a row, but that's okay.
I think the Bills, I'm with Tony on this one. I think the Bills put some pressure on Bo Nix. He's very young. If they make a mistake, then, Buffalo's going to capitalize on that. Weather's not going to be a factor because the weather in Buffalo is equally nasty to whatever they're going to get in Denver. So I like the Bills' experience. I like Josh Allen. I think they'll get the running game going a little bit more than they did against Jacksonville. Denver certainly can pull this thing out. They've got home field advantage. They're rested. They're the number one seed. But I do like Buffalo and Josh Allen and that experience to carry them back to the AFC Championship. Sorry, Ray.
I'm not
sorry.
sending. I'm not sending either of you to a birthday
remind
present.
folks,
Neither.
just like to remind
Done.
you all, Denver did win 13 games for a reason. So, all right, we are going to move on now to the next game, further along, all the way to the coast, all the way to the West Coast, as we are going to talk about the San Francisco Niners dragging their ambulance and broken bodies to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks and another just stout defense. I personally love their secondary. I love the Seattle Seahawks secondary. Again, not that I want to be a University of Illinois homer, but I'm gonna. Devin Witherspoon is a beast of a defensive back. Love him. Love the Seattle Seahawks here. I just think that San Francisco, the injuries are gonna catch up, and I think this is the day that it catches up. There's just too many people hurt, and I also, um, I don't know. I don't believe a lot of times this comes down to quarterbacks I believe in versus don't believe in. I know Sam Darnold and this oblique thing is going to be talked about in a couple of minutes for y'all. Brock Purdy's another guy that every time I watch him, I try to figure out how the fuck does he win football games? Oh, it's because Christian McCaffrey can catch a football. Oh, George Kittle can catch a football. But you don't have George Kittle. I don't see it. I see I see Seattle winning this game, injured Darnold or no injured Darnold. That's all I'm going to say about that one. Dave, you went last the previous game. You go first this game.
So, yeah, I do think injuries are a factor on this one. Sam Darnold is officially listed as questionable. I'm sure he's going to play with that oblique injury. These are these are obviously two teams who really know each other very well. The reason I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers, I'll just tell you guys that right now, I'm picking the Niners to win this, is Sam Darnold reminds me of Justin Herbert when the playoffs happened. This guy, I watched him last year against the Rams, got destroyed by the Los Angeles Rams defense. I don't have faith in him as a playoff quarterback. And I just think, and the Niners, when they lost to Seattle a couple weeks ago, they were just a couple of plays away and some poor execution from winning that game and getting the number one seed in the NFC. So, the Seahawks are a really, really good team. They're we got both number one seeds playing today, and I'm picking against both of them. I do like McCaffrey to make a big play. I like the Niners to force Darnold into some pressure situations and to force him into some turnovers. He's just seriously, just like Justin Herbert. Prove me wrong. Justin Herbert didn't do that last week, obviously. And I don't think Sam Darnold is going to do that this week. I like the 49ers to win this game. And I got a feeling about this that I'm going to go San Francisco beating Seattle. Probably not by much. It's going to be a great game because I love the fact that these teams know each other so well. But I got the Niners pulling the upset here, guys.
Tony is doing his best Larry David.
I have the Niners. I'll take the points for sure. Like, don't pass up the 7 or whatever you can get, whatever book, probably 7.5 somewhere. It sucks George Kittle's out because this could have been. It really sucks that they're so banged up like they always have been. Seattle's so good. Their defense is so underrated. I think they have a really good football coach too. I think they just need to get to Darnold. Darnold's got that oblique, and that could be a problem. Kenneth Walker is so solid. Jackson and Jigba Smith might be the best receiver in the league right now, but I have to go with the Niners. Brock Purdy is the most underrated quarterback in the league, Patrick. He just gets shit done. He makes plays on time. He knows his offense. He knows his own limitations, and he knows what he can do better than other people against certain situations on the defense. Yeah, McCaffrey is having one of his best years just because he's been able to stay healthy. So Give me the 49ers able to make some defensive plays and get to their 20th NFC Championship game.
Important detail about Brock Purdy that you forgot.
He went
He's
to
a
Purdue.
fucking goof. He went to Iowa State.
Is that our criteria now? He's a goof, so he's
a
just,
goof.
All right.
You watch that guy?
Patrick is cooking today, y'all. This is the most confusing game for me because conventional wisdom tells you that with everything that's happened going into the game, the Seahawks should blow them out, right? That's conventional wisdom. But then the one slight question mark that the Seahawks have might even not even play Sam Darnold. I don't trust Drew Lock any more than I trust Cristobal, the coach for
Brock
Mario
Purdy.
Cristobal. Yeah, or Brock Purdy, right? So then that makes you think about San Francisco. And for all of Brock Purdy's inequities and issues, he's had a decent year when he's been healthy. But then George Kittle's out. And Jawan Jennings can't catch 30 balls. Somebody else got to catch the ball. They got to throw it. And I know CMC's had a great receiving year, but they got to have more than those two guys, right? With that defense. So that brings me back to Seattle. So I think we're really going to have a very ugly, defensively struggled type of game, like a 13-7 or one of those type games. And one of the hardest places to play, if not maybe the hardest, is the former Quest Field, whatever the fuck it's called now. That's a hard ass place to play. There's only two teams in all of football, college or pro, that have have trademarked the 12th man. That's Texas A&M, and that's the Seattle Seahawks. I got Seattle, bro. I just think Kyle Shanahan's maybe has best career job ever for what he's been able to overcome with as bad a season injury wise they've had. But Mike McDonald is coach of the year, in my opinion. 14 games with this team. So yeah, I think the Seahawks host the NFC Championship game next week.
Yeah, Seattle just doesn't lose very often at home too, and I think that is a big thing to pay attention to. All right, turning the
If they
page.
were fully healthy, it might be a different conversation. They're not healthy.
Baby, that's still a tough place to win. Turning the page to the bane of my existence out here in New England because Patriot fans are back, and that's super awesome. Let me tell you, there's nothing more obnoxious than a Patriot fan. And this coming from a Bears fan who's had to listen to Packer fans rub it in his face for 40 years. Well, 15, depending on what you want to talk about. Did heading up to Gillette to take on Drake May and the New England Patriots, a playoff team that was in arguably the worst division in the NFL. I can't remember how many teams they had beaten with a winning record this season, but it wasn't very many. They were towards the bottom there. They just get the job done. And again, not knowing how healthy Houston is going into this, how we feel about CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Drake May. And I think that what? No? Am I not allowed to say that?
I mean, you can say it. It's just caught me off guard.
No, I do not think Drake May is particularly special. I think he is a fine quarterback, to use one of my favorite phrases. I think he's fine.
Well, that fine quarterback is going to be second in MVP voting.
About to say,
Sure.
he might win that
and
bitch.
That's good for him that you get to play a soft ass schedule and beat nobodies twice to get to where
Does
you
that
to get to where
remind
you
you
go.
of remind you of anybody?
Yeah, you could jump all over the Bears all you want. What are you doing tonight, Tony? What's your team doing this weekend, my friend?
I don't know.
Golfing?
I don't know.
Are they golfing?
How long ago is 1985, Patrick? You don't want to play
40
this game.
years,
Keep
brother.
going.
40 years.
You don't want to play this game.
I'm not playing the game. My team won. So I picked them to lose. I'll admit it, but we're not on that game. We're on this game. I think New England will win this game for all of my dislike because the universe hates me. And when New England keeps winning, that means I have to work more. So, and it's going to be cold and miserable. It's currently snowing outside my window right now. I have to shovel snow after I agonize through the Illinois Minnesota game. And then we'll get from there. So, Ray, you can go first this time. Houston Texans taking on Drake May and the Patriots.
I would feel so much better about the Patriots if Drake May had even a decent game last week. Dave talked about how bad Herbie was last week. Herbie went to Robert Kraft and said, "Here's the game if you want it. I don't want the game. You got it." And Drake May said, "No, son, I don't want it. We're not taking it. Take that out your hand, Robert Kraft." Like Drake May really tried his best to give the game back. And so he had a great year. I get it. First playoff game. There's some jitters. Understand. This ain't the right team to be playing after that type of game, my boy. The Texans, the no hunter, and if it wasn't for a man breaking the record, shout out to Myles Garrett, maybe defensive player of the year, Will Anderson Jr. Definitely one of the best leaders in football of these newer crop of people. Will Anderson Jr. is fantastic. They want to hurt you. They're not trying to just tackle you, sack you, strip the ball. They want to hurt you. They want to make sure that they see your chart when you go to the hospital. Like it's real for this team. And they have adopted a mantra that Tunney, the guy that just mentioned, the team we just mentioned, the 85 Bears, or the 2000 Ravens, or the 2002 Bucks, or the Legion of Boom, have adopted. We don't need you to score no fucking points offense. We'll score the points for our damn self. So, if CJ Stroud, Woody Marks give them anything, Texans gonna blow them out. I got the Texans going in, and I got the Texans winning, and that's no disrespect to the Patriots. I just think the Patriots, much like you guys think the Broncos, are just a year too early. So yeah, Texans coming in and they gonna dominate, bro.
Dave.
Some of what Ray says, I can agree with. Drake May looked like dog shit in the first half against San Diego, or it's not San Diego, LA. I did it again, Ray. Sorry. But he
called him
played.
St. Louis yesterday at work, and it, to a young
I've done that
person,
too.
and
I've done that
to
too.
like someone in their 20s, and they're like, "Who's St. Louis?" I go, "Never mind."
Drake May played much better in the second half when he had to, when that game was still close, and he really helped push New England past the Chargers. I agree that Houston is probably the worst team you want to play in this situation because nobody has been hotter than the Texans down the stretch, especially at that slow start. But I think Ray's underestimating the New England defense badly in this game. And
Hold up. The Chargers' offensive line was fucking dog shit.
well, they
So
were.
don't tell me they were dog shit.
You
They were
cannot.
running free. They were running free on Herbert. Like,
Yeah, but
I don't think that that's going to happen.
is that the
against New England
Chargers'
for
offensive
Houston.
line, or is that
Yes.
the
It's
Patriots' defense?
100%. You go back and watch that. They were like, it was blown assignments. Guys just in the wrong, double teaming the wrong dude. The Patriots defense is not elite like that. They're not.
Wow.
Sorry, Dave. I didn't mean to yell at you. I don't mean to yell at you.
No, that's what makes
I'm
it
going to
good.
yell at you. Fuck the Patriots.
I think
Fuck
you
'em
guys
right
are
in the ear.
you guys are both underestimating the Patriots defense. I think unlike the other games that, Houston going into New England to Boston to play that game, if weather's a factor, that certainly gives the Patriots a distinct advantage. Drake May, yeah, I mean, he's probably going to get runner-up for MVP, even if you arguably should say he should get the MVP for the job that he has done. I do agree that New England's ahead of schedule. But, if you're telling me to compare CJ Stroud to Josh Allen, sorry, Ray, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm taking the Patriots to win this game at home. It should be a great game. I like New England in this one. They're battle tested from last week. They got Vrabel's got them humming on all cylinders. I think May's going to have a solid game. Houston certainly can win. I do agree, like I said, with Ray that this is the wrong team to play at the wrong time, but I do like the New England Patriots to prevail and go to the AFC to host that big clash with the Bills for the AFC Championship.
You motherfucker! For the record, I never said that
Love
the
you,
Texans
Ray.
were going to
Love you,
score.
Ray.
I literally said the Texans defense will score for themselves. So
They
nobody's
may.
underestimating the New England's defense. They might shut them out, and they still might lose 14-10.
Tony.
Vrabel, man, what a turnaround, hey?
Coach of the year, right?
Amazing.
Other than Ben Johnson.
I'd give it to Liam Cohen. That's who
Mike
I would give it to.
McDonald.
I'd give it to Liam Cohen. I heard you, Ray.
They won like 4 games last year.
Best,
Anyway,
possibly the
sorry, that
best
was my
coach
fault.
in the NFL could be D'Amico Ryans. Like, he's amazing. And the fact that they got Stroud and Will Anderson in the same draft and just turned everything around. Like, they've won a playoff game the last 2 years, right? Their defense is the best group left playing in the NFL, and that's why they're going to win. Drake May doesn't stand a chance against this defense. The only quarterback that's going to beat this defense is
Don't do it.
when
Don't
Josh
do it.
Allen
God
takes
damn
the
it.
Buffalo Bills to the Super Bowl. So
All right, why
I'm
we are
taking
just stirring.
Houston. And if you want to take the best bet of the weekend, take the under in this game.
That's probably true.
All right, now that we've riled Dave, or not Dave up, we've riled Ray up repeatedly. Ray, by the way,
only
who
tell
would
the
have
truth,
called
Ray.
it? Who would have known that on this show, like it's like Bizarro World from Bandwagon Nerds because we're like best friends.
Yes, it's crazy.
When it comes to the show, we're like copacetic. It's time to talk about the Bears and the the St. Louis Rams. I did it too. The Los Angeles Rams. Here's all I'm going to say. Tunney mentioned this when talking about my lone text to him during the Bears Packers game when it was 21-3 was when I sent that text, and I wrote, well, shit, because they were, or no, what? I didn't write, well, shit. I sent the Dr. Evil gif where he says, well, shit. And I was done. Jordan Love, the offense is moving the ball at will. The Bears cannot tackle. They cannot cover. Dudes are running free. It was just boom, 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 boom. I was like, oh, goody, we scored a field goal on the opening drive. And I remember being like, that's not going to be enough if the defense can't hold. And then boom, 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 21-3. And I'm like, well, shit. So I sent it to Tunney. And
so you
realize
that I like predicted the entire game last week, right?
Yeah. And I get that Dave,
Except the end.
picked my Bears to win.
No, I did. Because I said the Packers, there's no reason the Packers won't be whooping their ass at halftime, and they should easily win the football game. And then I said, but nobody loses in the playoffs in more spectacular fashion than the Green Bay Packers. Go ahead, continue with your story, Patrick.
So then I turned into Randy Quaid in Major League 2, where the
Fuck
Bears,
you, Joe Boo, I do it myself.
No, the Bears kick a field goal, and I'm like, big deal, 21-6, 21-9. Well, they're still not going to come back and win. 21-16. Now the Packers going to score a touchdown. 28-16. I told you. I told you. And then we take the lead at 31-28. I'm like, I knew it the whole time. And then was like, holy geez, they found a way to win. Tony, I don't want to drag this up, but I am very interested in some of the offensive decision-making, play calling done in the second half by the Green Bay Packers. And I do think the Bears, yes, found a better way to contain the run a little bit. But it just, some of the play calling didn't make a lot of sense to me as you're trying to put away a game.
No, yeah, I agree. There's not really much to say about it.
Right.
Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. Monday, it was reported that the Packers and Matt LaFleur were working on a contract extension. It's Saturday.
Right. And I texted you. I think I texted you like a couple of days after the game. I was like, are they gonna re-sign him?
Probably going to
extend because he's on the last year.
He's probably going to stay here. I would only really there's only two people I would move. Well, there was three, but one of them is with the Giants now. If Tomlin wanted to continue to coach and come here, that would be completely fine with me. There's only one other person that I would take over Matt LaFleur besides those two guys.
Harbaugh hasn't signed that contract yet as of this show.
He will.
It's allegedly, rumor has it, it's over the role of the general manager and what Harbaugh wants the GM to do, either leave or take a reduced role.
Harbaugh's a man of integrity, though. He wouldn't agree to something and then renege like that.
I
I'm just
think
saying that is the word in New York that I saw as recently as
so.
today, that there's a
I'll
hang
tell
up
you,
with the role of the GM
it's
for that job.
95% chance that they're going to re-sign LaFleur, and by the time before this show gets recorded next week, he'll have a contract extension, and it's going to be more than $15 million a year. But some team is going to get really lucky if John Gruden wants to come back to coach NFL football.
On to the game. On to the
No?
game.
No?
We're going to talk about the game now. Now that we've given some airtime here. Also, all I've done all week is watch. There's a 10-minute video of various live stream Green Bay Packer podcasters reacting to the game, breaking down in real time.
Oh, I don't do that. Yeah.
That I enjoy thoroughly. As there's this guy who doesn't look like he could throw a ball 5 yards, calling the entire Packer team losers, and I just don't understand how you can be that big of a dick to your own team, unless you're me, who is now going to talk about how the Los Angeles Rams are going to beat the Chicago Bears this weekend in Soldier Field in Chicago. Weather be damned. I still, and I'm just going to say this, the defense is so turnover dependent to be successful. And yes, they have the league leader in turnovers in their secondary. I just, and maybe this is just the salty bear. I love Caleb Williams. I love his play in fourth quarters. I love how he has played down the stretch. I wish he could not throw a screen pass 75 miles an hour to Kyle Monangai. I need Ben Johnson to run the dang ball. Like, run the dang ball. You have 2 top-tier running backs. Run the dang ball.
Do you think Ben Johnson is an idiot for handling the Green Bay Packers the way he's handled them?
Yes.
Like
I
that was it's so stupid. Like why like, oh, there's a hornet's nest. Let's go over there and tie
kick it.
ourselves to the tree and then kick the fucking nest. That's just dumb.
And I sometimes see this with offensive coaches where you I'm the genius. I know how to do this, and I'm going to go against everything that makes us successful. The Bears have to run the football against the Rams, and they need to not put it all on Caleb's shoulders to start the game. Do what got you. Do what led you to beat the Eagles. Like, the reason they beat the Philadelphia Eagles during the regular season, comeback or no, was being able to get Swift and Monangai to just run. Like, they ran the football. The offensive line exerted their will, pushed that defensive line back. You gained yardage. I think that offensively, the Bears will find ways to score. I think this is going to feel a lot like the San Francisco 49er game during the regular season, where the Bears will make a charge, but the shortcomings of the defense that lead up to that late charge will just make the mountain a little too much to overcome. And, I love that it seems like we found a dude at tight end in Colston Loveland. I think
Baller.
he's been terrific. And you still have Cole Kmet, who is solid, but not, he's not doing what Loveland's doing. And, we keep hearing about how great Rome Odunze is, but like he's not been a factor really this season. He's been hurt too much. So, and DJ Moore can only do so much. DJ Moore, he had the catch that kept the game going, but I don't see it. I see the Bears losing in a close one to the Rams, trying to score late in the fourth quarter to get like a touchdown or whatever, but they fall just short. Tony, I turn it to you.
Boy, the Chicago Bears have made leaps and bounds in improving their football team. They're
a better
very,
team.
very good football team. They have a very good quarterback. They have a very good coach. You have an improved offensive line. You have very opportunistic defense. Your biggest advantage is your offensive weapons and your size in the receiving core over the smaller secondary of the Los Angeles Rams. The problem is this game's going to be won on the ground. And I think the levity of the situation is going to hit a very green Chicago Bears team at the wrong time. The Rams are proven. They have Super Bowl winning coach and quarterback. I'm going to go with the Rams here. I think the Bears are going to play really tough, but I think the Rams end up winning probably by like 10 on like a backdoor cover, like a late touchdown turnover,
What are they, like
clinch the game.
7.5? Or they're not even that
Yeah,
high, are they?
it's
Is it that high?
3.5, I think. I
Three and
think
a
it's
half.
3.5. So kudos to Chicago, man. If they win this game, good for them. I good for you guys. I mean, there are teams in professional sports throughout different major federations, associations, and leagues that when they're better, they make their sport better. And when the Bears are good, when the Bears and Packers are good, that makes the NFL
Football
better.
better.
Just
Yeah, I agree.
look at how many people tuned in on Amazon and 30 fucking 2 million people. So I honestly, and Patrick knows this, we've talked about this, and the best thing about Chairshot Radio Network, we're actually really friends, right? So I hope the Bears win for your sake, Patrick. I think that'd be really cool for you to have them get back to the NFC Championship, and then anything can happen. I don't think it's going to happen though. I'm going to pick
I don't
the
either.
Los Angeles.
Like, I
I'm going
really
to pick the
don't.
Los Angeles Rams and say that it's going to be fucking cold. That's the only thing I can guarantee.
One other thing I want to roll back to, I think that this is another instance of a team that like when we talked about the Bears at the beginning of the year, I said they'd be better, but I didn't think that they would make the playoffs.
If you guys can add one more piece to the offensive line and just like a playmaking veteran on defense, wherever,
right,
you're contender. You're one of the top 5 contenders next year because you got everything else. You really do.
You never know in the NFC North, like right.
Right. I mean, like there's the Packers. The Lions aren't going anywhere. The Vikings is fucked up as their season was. Still won 9 fucking games. Right.
Right. It's crazy.
So Kevin O'Connell's a really good fucking football coach. So yeah, the division doesn't get any easier.
Dave, your thoughts on this game?
So on November 23rd, the Rams beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 34-7. And Pat, I know we were talking on Four Corners, and at that point in time, I declared the Los Angeles Rams the best team in football. And if that LA Rams team shows up for an entire 4 quarters, then I could agree with you and I could agree with Tunney that the Rams are going to win. But that's not who the Rams are anymore. This is the same team that dropped a game to the Carolina Panthers. This is the same team that lost to the Atlanta Falcons, lost to the Seahawks in spectacular flameout fashion, struggled mightily and barely beat the Carolina Panthers and blew a 2-touchdown lead in the process of that versus, you guys talk about Ben Johnson should run the ball. And as one thing I learned about Ben Johnson is if you think he's going to do one thing, he's going to do the opposite. So I don't think they're going to run the ball at all. I think he's going to have Caleb air this thing out. I think he's going to keep the Rams off balance. If the Rams' only chance is to just get the Bears down by like 3 touchdowns and keep their foot on their throat and not allow the Bears back in this game at all. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a close game. Again, I think the Chicago Bears, if there's a team of destiny right now, it sure looks like them. They will get to the 4th quarter. Caleb Williams will pull this thing out, and the Rams will do what the Rams do. Be inconsistent at the worst possible time. This game will, honestly, this game is going to mimic in many ways the Rams-Eagles game in the divisional round from last year. It's going to look a lot like that. There's going to be a big play late in the game that puts this away for the Bears. They're going back to the NFC Championship game, Pat. I am picking the Chicago Bears to defeat the LA Rams.
You said something that I'm going to pair with what Patrick said. And you said, when you think Ben Johnson's going to do something, he does the other thing. Well, that's going to cost what's going to cost the Chicago Bears. Because Patrick already said it. Sometimes Ben Johnson is cute just to be cute so he can be the cute guy on the block. That's not going to fucking work tomorrow. Not against Sean McVay. It's just not.
Okay. You'll
Ray,
see.
Your turn, buddy.
I got eyes. I can tell you Terry Bradshaw is not a top 20 quarterback all time.
All right. You really want to get into that now?
No. See, now that Patrick's back on the show, we don't go 7 hours talking about weird shit. Ray, it's your turn. Just
He
kidding.
had like
I also don't think Terry Bradshaw is a top 20 quarterback of all
Not
time.
even close.
yeah,
He's not even
Anyway.
close top 20 all time.
yeah.
So 3-1, Dave loses. Ray, go. Talk about the Bears.
Yeah, the game is just better and harder now. So,
That's what she said.
that too. The Bears have had an amazing season. An amazing season. Again, I think they're a year ahead of time. They had an amazing season. Ben Johnson has been an amazing coach. Caleb has, I think, shown his worth finally. They're not even going to be close to this game. I see your point, Dave, about the Rams having random ass struggles against random ass teams. But the Panthers weren't a bad team. They were just in a bad division. They were just inconsistent. At their best, the Panthers were a top tier team. They just weren't at their best all year. But I think we forget a lot of the times when we think of these games, we're looking analytically and X's and O's, but we're forgetting about the human element. And quite literally, Bryce Young was playing for his job. Because next year is his 5th year they have to add on. After that, he's gone. So basically, if he didn't do good in that game, he might not be there next year. So like there was a whole lot more than just X's and O's and trying to get to the playoff, trying to get to the next round. That game last week. The Rams have been, for the majority of the year, the best team in the NFC. They have beaten more good teams by more points than any other team in the league. They maybe have the best coach, some would say. They have the dude who's trying to win his first MVP. I do not think this game is close. And most importantly, Patrick said it best. That defense over there in Chicago, sans turnovers, is hot, caliente basura. They need work. And Matthew Stafford don't turn the ball over a lot. He's had a couple games, I'll give him that. But he's not this version of Matthew Stafford isn't a guy who likes to throw a lot of picks. I do not see this game being close. I'm like, to mimic Indiana, Miami, and that might be what you see. It's Chicago.
Well, we will find out tomorrow. And like I said, we got Dave standing on an island, and he gets to, if the Bears win next week, he gets to be I told your asses. Even to the Bears fan who won't be here because he'll be bowling for dollars. But that is a future us problem and something that we can look at next week. We're going to wrap the show right here. Before we do, though, let's tell everybody where they can find us out there in the interwebs. Why don't you take care of a couple people for us, Tony?
Ray is back on mentioning.
No,
his
I'm
own.
not. That was special.
Follow me. That's Ray Cash, R-E-Y-S Mysterio, C-A-S-H as in dollar signs. At least
Thank
I didn't
you.
have to receive his thoughts via text message for the first half of this show.
That might be the
But
way I
that
do
was
my
fun.
shows from now on.
That was pretty fun yesterday. So make sure you
Bandwagon
go and check
nerds,
out.
don't forget, Battle Royale Madness officially starts tomorrow live Monday.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
We got
But make sure you go to attitudeofaggression.com and the Attitude of Aggression YouTube channel to check out part 2 of the Swaggies. We had a great time last night, some epic run-ins, just a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun here. Always have fun talking sports with you four guys. It's nice because, like I said before, we are like literally friends, so we can come on here and argue a little bit, give each other some shit, have a good time. Follow me at PC Tiny, Chairshot Radio Network, all your favorite streaming platforms, ProWrestlingTees.com. It's almost WrestleMania season, so continue to listen to all our wrestling podcasts. And maybe, just maybe, I'll text Greg and be like, "Hey, bro, want to do a show?"
If you were my friend,
just
you
quick,
wouldn't
remember,
be pulling for
respect
goddamn
the
Josh
Rumble.
Allen.
Respect the Rumble, fellas. But anyway, David Ungar, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on X at AttitudeAg. That is at AttitudeAGG. Go to the website, attitudeofaggression.com. And of course, check out the YouTube channel, the Attitude of Aggression's YouTube channel. That's the main stuff. But what's up, Tony?
Game Gone Wrong coming
Game
back?
Gone Wrong coming back, as we're going to be covering Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So that's coming up soon. More Unidentified History is going to relaunch in a couple of weeks. We'll get some stuff going there. So yeah, lots of stuff going on at the website. And as Tony mentioned, we got a couple of episodes of Attitude of Aggression that will be dropping officially, even though they've already been streamed live.
So first, thank you everyone if you are currently watching this stream live, thank you everyone for tuning in and checking us out on a live stream. Or if you watch this now, hey, the dogs are happy too.
Who let the dogs out?
We haven't heard from the dogs in forever.
Who?
Anyway, that 2000 era reference was brought to you by Mr. Tony.
Hold on, let me get one more. In the year 2000,
That late 90s reference was brought to you also by PC Tutty. And if you want to hear more fun pop culture references and stuff like that, check out Bandwagon Nerds. We drop that show every Monday on the channel. You got your first ever Bandwagon Nerds live stream last week. Ray mentioned it. We're into our tournament season over on the Bandwagon, doing Battle Royal Madness right now. So be able to tune into that. You can follow me on the socials at Wrestling Realist, though. That is at WRESTLNGREALIST. You can catch me every Monday, Tuesdays, and occasional Wednesdays on the Chairshot Radio Network. Mondays talking nerdy stuff with these three yahoos as well. Sports on the Four Corners podcast with usually Dave, though we do bring in guests like we have for the playoffs with Ray and PC Tunney. We've had others on there as well. And then Wednesdays, it's talking wrestling with Craig DeMarco, who I have heard on good authority will be back this Wednesday. I'm hoping that happens because it's been a while. I miss talking. We haven't talked wrestling since before Christmas. And so looking forward to doing that sooner rather than later. But otherwise, everybody enjoy the games, enjoy the playoff games, enjoy the college football final. I hope for all of our sakes as fans that we get good games. You know, we talk about blowouts and big wins, but we all know that the close ones are more fun. So here's hoping to that. Thank you everyone for watching and for listening. This has been the Four Corners Podcast here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com